Would you see the last frontier, where men still moil for gold, where beauty broods in silence over glaciers centuries old? Then to Alaska sail across the old gold seeker's trail. 50 years ago, the city of Vancouver was a small outpost in the wilderness. Today, she is Canada's gateway to the Pacific. In half a century, she has become a city of commerce and of trade, of tall buildings, luxurious hotels, and lovely sylvan parks. But young as she is in history, around her cling stories of adventure, legends of the gold rush days. Today, the graceful Canadian Pacific Princess steamer slips out of Vancouver Harbor to sail over routes once sailed by nondescript boats jammed to the gunwales with a rip-roaring crowd of gold-seeking adventurers. Today, modern comforts surround the traveler to Alaska, but adventure is in the air. It seems to come down on the wind from the north. The soft lapping of the water against the sides of the steamer speaks of a new world of romance. North steams the Princess, along the Strait of Georgia, past Cape Mudge Light and Quadra Island, through Discovery Passage. What stories lie behind those names? North she steams to Alert Bay, first port of call. Here on Cormorant Island are descendants of ancient Indian tribes living much as their fathers did. Totem poles still gaze seaward, oblivious of the passage of time. Perhaps they dream of the days when the Thunderbird spread his wings over their world and to disappear into the mists of the sea from which... North across Queen Charlotte Sound, the coastline grows more rugged. A sinister beauty hangs over the mountains where the wilderness is master. North to Prince Rupert, most northerly city in British Columbia. Here the teeming crops of the sea are harvested. Fishing boats sail from Prince Rupert for the banks of southeastern Alaska, happy hunting ground for halibut. No matter how many nets go down, the sea still gives up its harvest. The salmon boats ride in, loaded with raw material for the canning factories. British Columbia fish for the tables of America. Out go the fishing boats while the impassive totem faces watch, uncaring. Storms break over them and sunshine. Night succeeds day and a day night. But still the carved wooden faces stare over the western sea, watching for the return of the Thunderbird. North sails the Princess, across the international boundary line into United States waters. Alaska lies ahead. Alaska, land of mystery, shrouded in the white of eternal snows. Alaska, the last frontier. At Ketchikan, first port of call in Alaska, most of the population of over 6,000 depend on the fishing industry for their livelihood. For the canning of fish from Alaskan waters is the most important single activity in this outpost of the north. Nearby, late summer brings the ocean salmon to battle their way up swift rivers to the spawning beds. In many places, man-built ramps facilitate their passage up the falls. Driven by instinct, these giant fish fight tremendous odds only to die on the still mud of the spawning grounds. A strange example of nature's power over her creatures. On sails the Princess, on into a world built on fabulous dimensions. Over beyond the coastal range are valleys and mountains where man has never penetrated, where the wilderness is king, where silence has brooded since the world's beginning. But on deck there is friendship and fun. games to while away the sunny hours, romance on the Northern Trail. Porpoise playboys of the ocean caper beside the steamer, the leaping Lenas of the waves cavorting like clowns at a circus with a laugh in every leap. From the interior of Alaska, age-old glaciers ride down to the sea to rear tremendous bastions of ice against the ocean. Here is the birthplace of icebergs, monsters of ice pushed up from the ocean's bottom by sliding Taku Glacier. From Juneau, capital of Alaska, the Princess sails to Skagway, town of many legends. Built in the early days of the gold rush, the history of Skagway is the history of the once dreaded White Horse Pass. For it was from this town that the wild horde of gold seekers left to cross the Trail of 98 to the gold fields. Many never returned. Old landmarks remain. For a few short weeks each summer, Blanchard's Gardens are a riot of Alaskan flowers, showing nature in a gentle mood. But there's nothing gentle in the stories of Skagway's early inhabitants. A rip-snorting, hard-bitten horde of adventurers, they live beyond the reach of the law, with death just around the corner. White Horse Pass, journey's end of many a fine dream of adventure. For at Skagway, the hunters left the sea to take the Trail of 98. Thousands tried to cross the trail on foot. Beyond lay El Dorado, wealth beyond the wildest dreams. On the way, exposure and cold and hardship proved too much, for only the strong could survive in this land of the North. Today, travelers over the pass ride in comfort and security. The danger has disappeared, but the wind still speaks of adventure, of the lusty days of the gold rush when men went mad and fought and died for the yellow dust. Dead Horse Gulch is said to hold the bones of 1,000 pack animals who slipped from the narrow trail. But only legend tells of the men and bones, for along this trail straggled the ne'er-do-well and the younger son, the soldier of fortune and the man of business. Clerks, farmers, laborers, and college men. They left their homes at the cry of gold, and the North swallowed them uncaring. Over the pass into the storied land of the Yukon, today's adventurers ride the Northern Trail to beauty. On to Lake Bennett, where the miners have left relics of their stay, where the winds sigh through the old church, winds that blow from back of beyond. On to Carcross. Once it was called Caribou Crossing, but that was too long to say, and so it was shortened to Carcross. Here sourdough cabins still house the men on the last frontier. Around Lake Tagish, mile-high mountains sheer up from the water and dip into valleys where color runs riot. Remote, far from the cities of men, nature has built a world of breathless beauty. Paddle wheels carry adventurers over the shallow lake, past glacier and peak and valley, past small Eskimo settlements, past grim reminders of other days. The journey to Alaska and the Yukon, 1,000 miles by sea to Skagway, over the legendary White Horse Pass, leads into a wonder world, into a land of dwarfed spruce trees, serrated mountain ranges, and blue-shadowed glaciers. Here vastness allures. Here beauty seeps into the soul, etching forever memories of Alaska, the last frontier.